I'm doing, I don't know about everybody else, but thanks to hanging around Aaron, like August is about to be one of the greatest months for me.
I watched it. I watched the need and the want to be, online and to be on the show. I watched that destroy a human being. And as it destroyed that human being, destroyed parts of me too. Like just the like if something went bad on the internet, it was going to go bad for me. You know what I mean? That kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Like somebody, and I think this is normal for guys in relationships. When women feel like they're wronged about something, but that thing isn't around, they'll just get after the person that's closest. Maybe I've dated bad people before. Maybe I've just picked, partners that weren't very, matched up to me. No, you don't say, Aaron. But yeah, there was that. If something went wrong, batten down the hatches and hide because it was going to be on you somehow. Like it would be, she would talk about how she was mad about that thing and you just say the wrong thing in response to that and it's on. And now there's a fight. And that's, people seeing how shitty this was to me and like being mean about it, like just be like, this will break them. They're done. Them. I appreciate the sentiment, and that's very kind and it's very humbling. I don't share that opinion, but, if my fans have that opinion, I'm also not going to run away from that. I just, like I said, I hope, it doesn't cost me anything to wish people well.
And a performing comedian.
And not only that, but I feel like they were like terribly lied to cause this change because someone's covering their own ass. But people like that get theirs in the end. I mean, I do believe that, well, I know some things behind the scenes and like, let's just say the water isn't out of the leaky boat yet, as it were. Let's go to Stop Big True and says, does Gino know how to do a show anymore? Well, yeah, I think he's still doing shows. They're just on YouTube. Go ahead.
He went to YouTube a while ago and started doing stuff on YouTube. He's not unfamiliar with it. I just think for someone who's used to coming into a studio and having it just kind of all run for you, it's going to be a lot different to literally be the guy doing it all day in, day out, finding the content, prepping everything, doing everything. I mean, he's not going to be able to afford to have guests, so unless he has people willing to come on and help him out, it's a shame he doesn't have anyone in his life that would have been willing to be like, oh, yeah, dude, I'll jump on, buddy, and just hang out with you for a bit to, like, help out.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a shame he doesn't know any people that would have been willing to do that at the drop.
Too bad that he didn't have really good friends to get his back when shit wasn't going well. That's nice. Annoyed Wawa supervisor Gino is in his 50s and an unemployable drunk. Hey, what happened to the word allegedly? I think the but he's about to get married should be saved for people that still have the room to make mistakes, not someone who Scrooge McDucked into them. Wow. Bigot on socialist media says, I don't know about destroy, but they might have to get a job in retail or something. Dude, I think it would be so funny to watch Gino work at like a men's store. Like, and just like every once in a while, just start railing about, if you want this suit, Fauci wore a suit like this to the Senate while he was lying to people. And he's a piece of guy. Like, Gino, we've talked about this. Just take it easy.
Sir, this is a men's warehouse.
Atlanta. You're going to know that these guys were traitors. I guarantee it. Lander says, Gino is so loud and full of shit, he could be a carnival barker at a shitty state fair. He always has that. I have to say this. Those guys who travel in those campers from town to town doing those carnivals, they make, like, decent money, I think, don't they? They just don't have any time to spend it.
To make decent money, you have to, like, just trade up a piece of your soul in terms of living like shit and kind of overall being a piece of shit. Because you're making your money off of, like, twisted games and janky rides.
Gino has latched himself to Garrett, Steve, and Drew. Oh, God. Then you got to pay more people? God, it's going to be tough. I wish him the best. Streamlabs, PayPal, Super Chats. $2 from Los Federal. God, the audience is much more unforgiving about this Keanu Gino stuff than I am. Gino's so broke he can't even afford to pay attention. Whack, 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 whack. $4.99 from Red Fox Mad says Gino and Keanu turned on the toe for clicks and views. They were never friends with us. No, and that's the other thing. I've definitely learned my lesson. No internet people getting invited over. No internet people getting invited to shows. No internet people being quote unquote friends. Now, do I think Gino and Keanu have been snowed and lied to and manipulated? Yes, of course. I know who they're dealing with. But at the same time, I do know one thing from high school, and this is very high school. When the blonde pretty girl cries and the big scary ugly guy yells, everyone believes the pretty blonde girl. So I don't take that personally. I get it. I understand it. I've lived it. I hear it. It's not something that really upsets me, anything like that.
I can't blame him. Hell, I believed the little pretty blonde girl originally.
Oh, yeah, her last ex was abusive and angry and terrible. Turns out he's like Mr. All-America. It's like, what a guy. What a decent bloke. And then she makes out in front of him at a comedy show with another guy.
I brought you breakfast in bed, sweetie. Why are you abusing me? The abuse.
Asked Chrissy and Lila if they would ever come to Minnesota to be in a Steel Toe comedy show again, and they both said no. That's fine. That is totally fine. Look, the girls will stick together. No matter what happened to the guy, no matter what happened to the girl, the girls will stick together. Like I said, a pretty blonde girl cries. There was a great quote I saw this weekend. Women cry to hide their mistakes. Men smile to hide their pain. It's very, very, very true. You guys are a lot meaner than I am on this whole thing. Like, my whole thing is leave them alone. They got their own problems. They got their own shit they're dealing with right now. Like, they got to focus on that stuff. You know, all that stuff's going on. They don't need me barking and yipping. All I ever did was correct the record, and I know that's embarrassing, but it's, I just felt like I needed to. God's Note with $5 says, perhaps it isn't internet friends, and it's your discernment and choices and behavior. I mean, maybe I am the one who left to rescue my family and save my children from the terrible mistakes I was making, and I pulled the nose of the plane up in time while the rest of them called me terrible names, told me to K myself, and then kept doing it until they got arrested. But you're right. I'm definitely the problem. God's Note. Thank you. You got to have your moral compass is so fucked, I'll be surprised if you can make it to the parking lot, if that's your take on it. No, all of my I haven't lost a single real friend throughout this whole thing. They've all been great. Johnny, I've even gained a few back.
Well, we were never really friends.
Yeah, oh, of course.
I've just been doing this for the comedy show.
Yeah, and also I got my family back, man. I got my parents and my cousins and all of those people back. So I'm going to let that speak for itself, God's Note. By the way, speaking of the anniversary show, since the treacherous abandonment of the Titanic 2, I've kind of changed the vibe of the anniversary show after listening to the fans, after checking to see that after the announcement that they weren't coming, we didn't have any refund requests. So we're still good there. So, which means I might have been throwing money away. But I've also decided to change the vibe from roast to family reunion.